Coming online in just a minute.
And it's 7:02 sharp, maybe 7:04. It's actually 7:05. About time to start tonight's River Signal Radio Hour. We're broadcasting, as always, from the bow of the Channel Princess Riverboat. And this Saturday, we're on 7 Mile Island, just beyond Clarksville, Tennessee.
For the next hour, we'll be sharing everything a river traveler needs to know: bends, mudbanks, hitches, and snags, flora, megafauna, and megafungus, and every other treasure. Peril from here to there to here.
If we will have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, renewing, enriching it. If we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, then a long time after we are dead, the lives of our lives prepare will live. There, their houses strongly placed, upon the valley sides, fields and gardens, rich in the windows.
River Mile Zero. The Cumberland Conservation Club.
We begin tonight's broadcast with a warning. should you reach the end of the Tennessee River, and should you mention to any locals your plan to set out in the Cumberland, these folks will invariably snort and say, "Good luck with that." That's what they mean by that, and they will invariably shrug and change the topic. We've had that conversation a lot, and we've never really been able to get anyone to elaborate further. So we still did not know what to expect when the day after we approached the canal, we floated up to where the mouth of the Cumberland was supposed to be. What we found were pancakes of river trash and a parade of dead carp. It quickly became clear that there was no canal. All we could see were boats that looked like something a militant toddler might have designed, and helicopters buzzing overhead, the men aboard speaking to us, then yelling. We climbed atop the Princess, craned our necks, attached strings to plastic cups and held them to our ears, but we couldn't make out whatever those men were screaming. The helicopter kept coming closer. Someone appeared to be readying a harpoon on the demented child's boat. We are a peaceable people, and also we don't have any weapons, aside from a rolling pin Reed's mom gave me. So we showed them our hands, and we motored away to regroup.
such a shame you don't come back to visit us. A visitor, a bunting bird, and Lydia says it's hideous in its loveliness. I've got hoops and jewels to embellish it. First I'll paint all the panes of my sliding glass door and preserve the remains of that indigo bird.
The river signal.
The river will run clear, as we will never know it, and over it birdsong like a canopy. On the levels of the hills will be green meadows, stock bells and noon shade. On the steeps where greed and ignorance cut down the old forest, an old forest will stand, its rich leaf fall drifting on its roots.
River mile -5. The Canton Canteen.
What am I reading here?
Any halfway competent river traveler knows that when your main channel is blocked by float SAM, jet SAM, or belligerent conservationists, you have but one clear option: back channels. As we paddled up one such channel, the whine of the choppers still audible, we saw a small white square of fabric dangling from the end of a long stick. To the untrained eye, it would have appeared to be nothing more than a scrap of linen snagged on a branch. But we've been around the backwaters long enough to read the signs. We nosed up on shore and we ventured forth along a rough path into the dusky woods. Through the thick foliage, we could just make out a flickering yellow light, and we knew we were about to be in good company. We came upon a rustic cabin, almost invisible beneath the kudzu vines and sycamore boughs. Upon entering, we were greeted with the sound of laughter over a six-string and the wafting aroma of pan bread and moonshine. As Mama loaded us up on sauce, her son Jimbo regaled us with the history of the Canton Canteen. He said for generations, his ancestors fermented corn mash up and down the Cumberland Valley, all until the Conservation Club moved in and just about locked all of his kin behind bars. Him and Mama were the only ones still cooking up the hooch, and now this speakeasy was the only spot that they could hawk it from. When Brian inquired if anyone knew how to get on the Cumberland River, a friendly couple in the next table mentioned an unpatrolled route through the backwaters. They scribbled a hasty map on the back of a napkin, our only guide to the journey that lay ahead.
All this love gone to waste. Nothing but the air we breathe, pressed between the blades. I'm turning into stone. I'm turning into stone. When I think of you, I feel that I'll always be alone. running wild. A mind swept up in the tide. Days are running thin, like heaven peering through your eyes. I'm turning into stone. I'm turning into stone. I remember how we laughed and your words felt like home.
The river signal.
That was Nathaniel Riley playing Turning into Stone. And speaking of things that might turn you into stone, let us go to Splish and Splash for some boat talk. This, my friends, is Boat Talk.
Everybody, and welcome to Boat Talk.
We are back and broadcasting loud and clear from the cabin of the Channel Princess.
Although it hasn't been all sun showers and sweet tea.
No, sir. Captain is putting us to work harder than ever.
As before, we're still swabbing the deck,
Siphoning the gas,
bailing out the bilge, but now he makes us swat gnats in the cabin,
and sweep away a dead fish from under the bow,
minces garlic,
complete his crosswords,
tune his zither,
decrust his toothpaste tube,
bring out his underwear,
and trim his nose hairs.
Well, that one you offered.
And they grow about an inch a day.
Well, he does eat a lot of oysters.
Which, of course, he has me shucking.
Indeed. Times are grim for us public broadcasters, but at least the captain let us borrow these nifty headphones.
Yeah, wearing these makes me feel like a real radio guy.
Even though they aren't plugged into anything.
Even though. Our listeners don't know that, though.
That's where we are supposed to wink. Well, folks, we received a lot of technical inquiries these past couple weeks.
Yeah, like if boats are made of metal, why don't they sink?
Or, how do I make my diesel motor run on carp blubber?
Or what's this thingamajig attached to my whatchamacallit?
I have no idea. But the most common inquiry we'd like to tackle on today's episode is the fundamental difference between 2 and 4-stroke motors.
That's easy, 2.
Wow, that's right, Splish. But of course, it's a little bit more complicated than that. And if we were to try to explain it with a ton of technical mumbo-jumbo, it would, well, be boring. So instead, we've cooked up a little metaphorical demonstration.
Right, Splish. And for those watching, our technical team is throwing together a little visual aid to walk us through it.
All right, so let's dive right in with the more complex four-stroke motor. Imagine your motor is its very own boat. And in the middle, it has a piston represented by an elf with an oar.
And cool shades.
Of course, any motor needs fuel, and this one happens to consume bean burritos.
Now we need an intake mechanism to serve those burritos, and how about a chef?
Perfect. Okay, for the first stroke, fuel is delivered to the piston.
And the second stroke is compression, where our the little elf wolfs down the burrito.
Now the piston is primed to execute the third stroke, powering the boat.
Well, looks like our friend is a bit flatulent.
Indeed. What goes in must come out. Looks like we'll need an exhaust system. How about another elf?
With a fan.
Ah, okay. So now we can run our fourth and final stroke, expelling byproducts safely into the atmosphere. All right.
Okay, well, all this rowing must heat up the motor.
Absolutely. We need an oil delivery gizmo to keep it cool.
How about a slimy fish?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, how about we let this whole cycle run again? Let's see how it goes. So first, we've got the intake, the compression, here comes the power stroke, and uh-oh, now for the exhaust. Great, well, four-stroke motors overall are quite clean and efficient.
But they have a lot of moving parts and can be cumbersome to maintain.
So lethargic sloths like ourselves often prefer the simpler two-stroke version. Let's see how they work. Again, we'll need a piston, an elf with an oar.
And a much less sophisticated system to introduce fuel.
How about a funnel?
Are you sure that's a funnel? It looks like
Well, it's an elf, not a deadhead. But he still eats burritos for fuel.
Yet this time the oil is mixed directly with the fuel, so let's make those fish tacos instead.
That's a good idea. Delish. Now we can commence our first stroke, where the fuel is delivered and compressed all in one go.
And then our second stroke, which pushes the boat forward while expelling the exhaust.
Okay. Whoa, those fish farts are gnarly. In fact, two-stroke motors are much less efficient and contaminate more than four strokes, but have the advantage of providing power with every other stroke. How about we run that again? So we've got intake and compression, power exhaust. Intake and compression, power and exhaust, and he's away.
All right, well, that sums it up.
Hold your seahorses. We can still consider an even simpler method of locomotion. The one-stroke motor.
One stroke?
Just one.
Pray tell.
Okay.
Squish.
Okay. Imagine a Ganner elf on a boat. Now, he won't be needing that oar. Instead, he'll need a whole pile of burritos. He'll have to gobble them down in one fell swoop. For this motor to work, we need to supercharge it with as much combustible material as it can handle.
Well, it's a good thing we found such a hungry elf.
Yeah, I mean, look at him go. And if he isn't satiated yet, how about that fish he caught? Woo-wee, all right. Now, how about we lose that silly hat? Better off with a helmet. Okay, now he's ready for his one big stroke. Count with me, Splash.
All right.
3, 2, 1, lift off! Lift. Come on, Elfie, you can do it. There he goes. Oh, wow. I don't know where that elf's gone, but he ain't coming back.
Wow, yeah, if you need to get somewhere fast, that would probably be the way to go.
Just like the cosmonauts of old. Upon but a single stroke, they
All right, let's take a
the
caller. Let's take a caller. Okay. We are going to take a caller, and let's see.
Hello, you're on Boat Talk.
Greedy?
Mom?
I know you're having fun out there on your little boat, but don't you think you ought to be doing something a little more serious with your life?
Mom,
Yeah, Reedy.
this is serious. I mean, we're propelling the public into self-sufficiency through the propagation of highly accessible technical know-how.
Oh, give me a break. I know you and your friends are just making all this stuff up. Honey, you're a trained engineer. Why don't you get a job solving some real problems?
Jeez, we
Engineer.
talked about this, Mother. I enjoy what I do.
Putting up scraps of soda boxes and contaminating the river with your dirty motor?
Oh.
Not to mention your dirty car sitting in my garage.
Hey, we'll get to that.
Anyway, if you're just going to turn around and you're just going to bum around all summer, why can't you do that back here in Colorado? I've been making a list of things for you to fix around the house.
Oh, joy, oh, joy. Well, I only have one more week out here, and then I promise you I'll get to the list.
Wonderful. I'll see you soon. Say hi to your friends.
Okay.
Tell Brian I love his poetry. I love the music.
Oh, wow.
And please stop eating all that megafauna.
All right, that's a good piece of advice.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah, I love you. See you, Mom.
Oh man, she really laid into you, Reedy.
Can it?
Oh, looks like we've got some ringing in here. Let's see. We have another caller. It looks like. Hello, you're on Boat Talk.
Right, guys?
Mom?
That's me.
Mom, we talked about the Bry Guy thing, not in public.
Oh, you're so sensitive. Anyway, I'm just calling to see how much longer you boys, I mean men, are going to be out there. I've been watching your videos, and I'm a little worried about you. You're all sleeping in that little room together. You all look so sweaty and tired.
This is true.
And your feet are so dirty. Not that I'm a helicopter mom, but I was thinking...
Mom,
maybe
nope, no,
you could-
no, no.
I already made text mix.
Yes.
Watermelon.
Tell her to come out.
I fired up the helicopter. I could be there by sunrise.
Mom,
Okay, no watermelon. I just want to hug my baby boy.
looks like you're cutting out. Sorry, Mom, bye, I love you.
Bry Guy?
Don't you start.
Well, you know, I specifically told our producers to screen our calls.
Yeah, we must have been set up.
Well,
The captain.
not such a bad thing to chat with our moms once in a while.
I guess not. I guess not.
Well, that does it, folks. You burnt your toast again because you were listening to Boat Talk. Tune in next week for our final episode, and don't paddle like my brother.
And don't paddle like my brother.
All right, let's hit it.
Okay.
The river signal.
Thanks as always. Oh my god. Oh my god, I sound crazy. Hang on.
My apologies there. That was a little weird. I have something to say. Thanks as always for that sage advice, my friends. Now we'll head out back to the bow deck to hear one from our dearest friend, Teddy Lee Wilder. Very excited. Here we go.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who's there knocking at my door this late? I wanna answer it, be it a stranger or a friend. Where coo, 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 birds sing and so do you. Foxtrot, tango, contact, electric slide. Oh yeah, I wanna dance with you. We were strangers and now we're friends. Oh, still in bed, sundown and the lights out. Eyes we open and I let out a shout. If we get up now, we can paint this town. Oh yeah, put on your dancing boots, shake a feather and let's get loose. All right, here we go. Sing. Oh, fuck. Life's rough. We're enough. We're enough. Now let's take it for a ride, Reed. Seasons they turn again. Blood, mine, the river's brine. As it blows out, I could blow out. Well, I'm a flickered flame. Keep breathing, feel the rain. On your face it lays. Well, laid out, face down. Hold up, man, the moon is round. Cold creeps, clouds keep getting between me and vitamin D. Oh, now, would you pray for me? I'm bleeding out to sea. Here we go. Sing it. Oh. You want to give us another ride on that day? Not just the voices. All enough. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who's there knocking at my door this late? I wanna answer it, be it a stranger or a friend. The veins of forgotten springs will have opened. Families will be singing in the fields. In their voices, they will hear a music risen out of the ground. They will take nothing from the ground, they will not return, whatever the grief at parting.
The river signal. River mile -3. The back channels.
Well, maps in these parts tend to be more impressionistic than strictly technical. Channels can change quickly, and it's easy to get tied up in a forgotten cove. For days, we explored the back channels, oxbow creeks, and flooded basins. Some were sweet, cool water, others full of what looked and tasted like hot pudding. Everything was lovely, everything was a dead end. And on the fourth day, Reed and Brian got impatient. They left me on the Princess and went out on foot, determined to find that hallowed channel. They walked mudbanks for miles, clambering over shoreline deadfall. When that got too thick, they stripped to their glasses and ball caps and swam, doggy paddling into every riparian vein and capillary. Every channel they found was lovely. Every channel they found was a dead end. They arrived back on the boat at sunset, sunburnt and bleeding from collisions with submerged shopping carts, skin blotchy from bruises with poison poplar. So, we did the only thing we could. We fired up the engine, raised our anchors, and kept looking.
Oh, aging ones with your star. you.
Memory, native to this valley, will spread over it like a grove. And memory will grow into legend. Legend into song. Song into sacrament.
The river signal.
Brian and Galen had been recording our progress with a compass and sextant, producing a map that looked like a big circle. I took to climbing the tallest trees in hope of catching a glimpse of the big river. But all I ever saw was the serpentine floodlands, weaving through the endless forest. Our hopes of finding the Cumberland diminished with each day, until we met the four sisters. It was a surprise to stumble upon these white-haired grandmas paddling through the river in a dugout canoe in the middle of nowhere. When we inquired, they said it was their big sister's idea to explore every inch of the river, and they had no choice but to paddle along. They were equally astounded to find us out here in our funky little riverboat, and when we spelled out our navigational dilemma, they just smiled. They described not far from here a secret passage from the Tennessee drainage into the Cumberland, a route that not even those conservationists knew about, and to boot, it should be just wild enough to pass our little houseboat. We thanked them kindly, and with fingers crossed, we set out a new course for the Cumberland.
Saturn blinks, another week is gone. All the days I could go wrong, wondering how we got this far, calling on our black star. Cassia wings, another drink is gone. All the thoughts that could go wrong, wondering how we got this far, calling on our black star. as we cross the streets of Santa Barbara. Don't look to the past, boy. Plane across the universe as we cross the streets of Santa Barbara. As we cross the streets of Santa Barbara. There's the hell within yourself and the hell that you made for others. Crawl out of your past, boy. There's the hell within yourself and the one that you made for others. Come into the now, boy. It's a long way to heaven, gotta find it there within your brother.
That was Nathaniel Riley with accompanist by his sister Ziona, playing Santa Barbara. And now our first mate will read us a story about the first big voyage on the Channel Princess.
This one's called Wishing Well. A decade ago, almost exactly when I was as directionless and angsty and heartbroken as I've ever been, I went on a boat ride with two of my best friends, Galen and Reed. I call it a boat ride because if I say it was a trip down the Mississippi, you're going to want to know if we did the whole thing. Yes, and what kind of boat we were on, a 30-foot paddle wheeler, and if it was just the most sweet, relaxing thing. It wasn't. Not at all, because we had decided that rather than just float down the Mississippi, we would, while floating down the Mississippi, meet dozens of musicians and record them on the boat's bow and incorporate their songs and stories into the weekly serialized radio story we would write, record, and produce on the river. And this story, loosely based on our travels, would be set in a bizarro post-apocalyptic universe, a scorched American heartland, per the press release, in which quirky survivors huddle on riverbanks and communicate via a mysterious river-based radio station that's under constant threat from a radio-eating electrical storm that we, or at least I, hope to be understood by our legions of adoring listeners as a poignant metaphor for late-stage capitalism. And by the time I'm done talking about that, you'll be as confused as we were out there. So, like I was saying, I went on a boat ride with two of my closest friends. For over 3 months, the three of us lived together in a space the size of a college dorm room. Reed slept on a slap bed that rolled out over the captain's chair. I slept on a bed that folded down over the compost toilet. We took turns cooking breakfast and steering the boat and biking back roads to tiny towns to get gas and get rid of trash. And we got pretty good at docking and tying bowline knots and setting anchor in Mississippi mud, and we ate lots of saltines and drank lots of whiskey and swam every day and murdered mosquitoes every night. And we recorded scores of insanely talented musicians in quiet coves and cacophonous river locks and met hundreds of people who wanted to know if the boat was steel. It was aluminum. And if the paddle wheels worked, they didn't. And if we were just partying all day and all night, we weren't. And while doing all these things and so much more, we did manage to write and record and produce 16 episodes of a very bizarre radio show that, though probably only a handful of people ever heard it, is the art I'm proudest to have made. That trip was one of the most thrilling things I've ever done. It was also very fraught. We all had different ideas about how the show should sound and feel, and Galen and I had spent more time designing it on the front end, so Reed often felt left out. Reed was always carving driftwood spoons and tracking sawdust into the cabin and letting the screen door bang shut while I was trying to write beautiful sentences about banjo-eating carp. Galen was sometimes pretty rigid about his ideas being the right ones, and so was I, and so was Reed. And sometimes those two wanted to stay up till midnight playing Ricochet Robots, and I just wanted to sleep. It was always hot, and we never knew where we were going to tie up for the night, and Reed almost drowned once, and mosquitoes hatched in the boat's bilge twice, and I had to go to the emergency room 5 times, and one afternoon while he was fishing, Reed accidentally caught a turtle, and that made him sad. And one night, Galen hooked up with a beautiful musician on an abandoned tugboat, and I didn't hook up with anybody, and that made me sad. And one morning, while we were docking, I gave Reed an unsolicited suggestion of some sort, and Reed dropped the line on the dock and glared at me and said, "Don't bother figure me." Every Sunday, no matter where we were or what else was happening, we made sure to make time to sit down together, listen to the episode we made that week, and talk about our feelings. We all always had a lot of feelings about all the above and so much more. We felt silenced. We felt underappreciated. We felt like the show was going in the wrong direction. We felt like we were spending an awful lot of money on peanut butter. We felt like it was somebody else's turn to clean the pea jar. We did not like how decisions were being made around here. We didn't understand why some of us were so angry about Ricochet Robots. We wanted more responsibility on the show. We wanted less responsibility on the show. We wanted everyone to take a little more responsibility for their behavior. We loved each other. We were proud of ourselves for having these conversations, for communicating. We felt we communicated better than men usually did, and while this is probably true, that's a pretty low bar. And so we didn't, or at least I didn't, resolve everything in those meetings. Not at all. I was often annoyed at Reed for this thing and resentful of Galen for that thing and ashamed of myself for too many things to begin to even list. And also I was just an introvert who was spending all day every day working and playing and living with 2 other tall, hairy men in a boat the size of a dorm room. And so I put up more walls, more every day, only some of which I was aware of. In Arkansas, we came into possession of a bag of mushrooms. I'd never eaten mushrooms before, but I wanted to. Reed and Galen both had eaten them several times, and they were very excited to do so again, but also more than a little worried about me, given my off-the-charts anxiety. They didn't tell me this. They just told me they wanted to have this experience with me, and that we should plan to finish our work early one day and find a safe, quiet space and trip together. On the day in question, Galen motored around the backside of a lush island with a giant sandbar. It felt like the river equivalent of a padded cell. No people, no wind, no current. We ate the mushrooms and we played some music, splashed around, used the dinghy as a basketball hoop. When we started coming up, we wandered into the woods together. We marveled over spiderwebs, gaped up at seed pods that suddenly looked like disco balls. We sat in mud. We stripped naked and lathered ourselves in that mud, and then we crawled out of the woods onto the beach and we rolled around until we were coated in sand like cinnamon toast. Finally, we crawled into the water. When I stood up, the layers of mud and sand began to fall away like hunks of ice calving off a glacier. I felt like it wasn't just mud calving off me, like I'd been wearing invisible armor, installed behind fortress walls. I told Galen and Reed that I loved them. And then as I began to come down, I sat naked in the shallows, and I stared up at the pastel clouds feathering their way across the sky. The sky was undulating. It looked like a wishing well. When I dropped my wishes into it, those pastel clouds rippled and then calmed. The next day we were also sweet and gentle with each other, topping off coffee mugs, exchanging knowing smiles, softly shutting the screen door. I felt feather-light and wide open. I couldn't believe I'd spent so many years not feeling this way, living this way. I hadn't known how many walls I'd put up. I hadn't known how it could feel to live without them. That afternoon when we swam, we were naked as usual. This time though, when Galen got back in the boat, he didn't put his clothes on. Neither did Reed, so neither did I. We didn't talk about it. We just set about doing what we would normally do. Writing, cooking, piloting the boat, playing the guitar. Except now we were naked. Felt a little forced and silly at first, but then it became kind of normal. And then I kind of stopped noticing it at all. That was 10 years ago, almost exactly. This summer, we're on a different river, in a different season of life. We've all got new soft spots and calluses, good and bad habits. We don't tend to sit around naked all that often, but we pretty much live in our underwear and only put on pants when we have company. We love each other more than ever. We rarely miss a chance to say so, but we also still get into it pretty often about what goes in our show scripts and whether we really need that drone shot and whose turn it is to empty the pee jar. And whenever this happens, whenever we forget why we're here, who we're here for, one of us will nudge the others and keep nudging until we all relent. We take off our shirts and our pants. We get down in the mud. And we stay there until we're clean. All right, now Ziona's going to play us another one.
I bought myself 10 new pens, 10 new pens for writing again, and sat on my hands, watering cans, cast iron pans, stacks of plates and daily demands. I sat on my hands. Pages lie fallow, my diary spent from entries of kept appointments. I bought myself 100 stars, plastic stars that glow in the dark, and slept in the park. Pages lie fallow, my diary spent from entries of kept appointments. Call on my wellspring, call on all my aching disappointments. No missed appointments with them. My 10 new pens.
The river signal.
Sunday, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers.
And now, 5 days and 100-some river miles later, here we are, making our way along the Cumberland. We haven't seen any conservation clubbers out here thus far. Honestly, we haven't seen anyone really. aside from our friends, the heron, the osprey, and the carp, who actually is not our friend. It's hard to sympathize with the Conservation Club, but I guess you can see why they chose to conserve the Cumberland. It is such a pleasant river, with gentle bends, banks lined with silver maple and sycamore, water that stays cool and refreshing despite the relentless heat. We hope you all find your way out here to the Cumberland. It's hard to say we have much good advice for how to get here, but maybe it would be something like avoid the crumpled maps and the so-called conservationists, and look for the speakeasies and kind strangers. Speaking of, we're going to hear one more from our friend Ziona before we all clamber out to the bow for one final song.
Raisins come to boil. The folly made the fires all land in oil. Wake and no one's home. The folly made the kids learn on their own. Love to discover Snapple isn't free. Raisins make a brownish bitter tea. Love to discover food aroma fills our car. Load up on nostalgia. Eat enough to never starve. Volley of tomatoes. Steal 'em on your way to school. Volley of tomatoes. Who's been in my bowl? What folly may nourish every soul? Who ate every bite? Such folly. Did the kids turn out alright? Slice up tomatoes, ripened in the sun, just to be devoured one by one. Slice up a tomato, it ripened on the windowsill. Load up on nostalgia, red enough to have a smell. Folly of tomatoes, no one ever needs to know. Folly of tomatoes need to grow. Folly of the faithful.
The river signal.
All right, now just give us 30 seconds as we all
Thanks for being here, everybody.
slowly.
Also, really want to give a special happy birthday shout out to my music mentor, Steve Travis. Thanks for being here.
All right, so the song we're going to play is a song called Shadow in the Room. It is by a group called the Memphis Dolls, who I don't believe are together at this point, but we met them 10 years ago on that river trip that I was talking about a few minutes ago. And yeah, we always loved this song, and we just wanted to play it in tribute to those wonderful musicians and all the folks who have come out and played with us over the course of these 2 different trips. Hopefully many more. So again, this one is called Shadow in the Room.
Shadow in the room, stretched out across the floor, like some shadow in a tomb. I thought my love was gone, I thought we were alone. Feelings will not die, rooted in the bone. Cannot be here. I'm possessed by someone else. You cannot know what isn't yours. Go and hunt somebody else. I tried my best to run, fell back in your arms. I say that we are done, but the truth finds a way out. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. How can I jump out of this sterile bed, knowing I'll just land there, feeling sad. I tried so hard to leave, but I trip on my 2 feet. Right. Thank you, hopefully Memphis Dolls, for letting us play that song. And hand you this, Teddy. Thanks so much to all the performers, who I'm going to name in just a second, who came out and shared songs and stories on the boat this evening. And thanks to all of you out there who spent your Saturday nights listening to our show, watching us play in the increasing dark on a riverboat. The River Signal is written and recorded here aboard the Channel Princess by Reed Lustig, Galen Huckins, and Brian Benson. Let's give a hand to tonight's artists, all of us, Ziona Riley, Nathaniel Riley, and Teddy Lee Wilder. Thanks so much, y'all, for coming out to this little creek.
We want to give some special thanks to Barb Benson, Paula Lustig, and again, Teddy Lee Wilder for all. Paula Connolly, I'm so doing a really great job with names. Paula, that is 100% my fault. Let's give a hand, though, to Barb, Paula, and Teddy again for all the help putting this together. We pulled off a conference call, everybody. We will be back next Saturday, August 16th, 23rd. Today is the 16th at 7 Central Time for our final show of the summer in Nashville, Tennessee. To watch that show, watch a replay of this one, and find more videos, stories, and rumors from the trip, you can go to riversignal.com. And now, Teddy, if you wouldn't mind, we will conclude with the ceremonial dinging of the bell. All right.